언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여 I'm trouble and you running it I'm so cold When I move that way you gon' be so blown I'm the realest in the game Said I'm on fire with the blade You're about to hear my name ringing in your head like whoa So keep your eyes on me now 무엇을 보던 좋아할 거야 We're so tough Let's get it show you out Can you feel the rush now Ain't nobody bringing us down 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 They could try but we gonna wear the crown You could go another round 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 Wish you luck but you're not bringing us down We go hard till we get it we go hard We're so in it we pop stars Only winning winning now Ain't nobody bringing us down 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 난 멈추지 않아 Oh we go hard Oh we pop stars Ain't nobody bringing us down 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 They could try but we gonna wear the crown You could go another round 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 Wish you luck but you're not bringing us down We go hard till we get it we go hard We're so in it we pop stars Only winning winning now Ain't nobody bringing us down 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 down
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In a world where not even FlyQuest can go winless, we bring you an Ionia division match in the Seal Casual Esports Amateur League. Tonight's match will be between Team Harmony and Imagine Mountain. Imagine Mountain coming off a very strong 2-0 first week. Team Harmony still looking for their first win. Had a rough first week. We have on the side of Imagine Mountain, Deep Thinking, Crazed Juggernaut, Monkey, I'm Lucian My Mind, and Stebby. And then on the side of Team Harmony, Koite, Lord Nick, SpongeBob is Life, Skinkage, and Mrs. Sylvie. I am TTU Phoenix, and my co-casters are Smurb DePerp and Autumn Gamer, and our host tonight is Shadow.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back casting Harmony. Hope that they took a bit of a lesson from their last match and are ready to kick it into high gear this time because they are going to need to.
Yep, Team Harmony are home for this week's match, so they have elected blue side for game one, and then they'll switch and play red side game two. We were talking a little before the stream started about what we expect to see. I've played against uh, almost all of these players. Lord Nick is the only one I haven't faced. And we were saying for Team Harmony, we think that the top lane is going to be a real key to their victory. Koite is a very strong laner. He has a lot of champions that are very strong at split pushing, at 1v1 matchups. And so what Team Harmony needs to do is essentially keep the rest of the map contained and allow Koite to do what he does best. You don't want to be in a situation where he's being forced to teleport to the fight in order to buttress the rest of his team or to offset them if they're behind. You really want him to be able to stay 1v1 in the side lane versus Deep Thinking and let him do what he does and have the rest of your team be able to manage the 4v4 without losing too much in the way of objectives.
Do you think they're going to have any priority picks for Team Harmony with that first pick?
So I'm not sure. Possibly for jungle. I don't think there's a lot of overlap between Koite and Deep Thinking's champion pool. Maybe the Camille. I know Koite plays a lot of Camille, and I do believe Deep Thinking plays some of it. Um, I don't know the champion pools for Imagine Mountain well enough to know how much overlap there is. My guess is they're going to save mid for counterpick. Monkey is one of their star players. He had really strong performances both games in week one. And so I think they want to make sure that they uh, enable him to be set up for success. What I do remember from week one, because my team did face them, is they tended to prioritize Crazed Juggernaut's jungler very early. So my guess is they'll probably do the same just to make sure they get him on a jungler that they like and that works well for the team.
That's about more or less what I was thinking there. In terms of general power, if professional sports have esports have any bearing on a bunch of people just throwing it out for fun, I expect priority on Gragas and Renekton seems to be high as of this patch for some fairly obvious reasons. Gragas seems to be, or in the case of Renekton, gore drinker abuse is insane. Gragas apparently seems to be, if people think Gragas can play into the Renekton without, risking too much.
Yeah, we're getting set up for draft here, so just a moment and we'll turn ourselves over. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Renekton pick. I know Koite has gone to Renekton in previous seasons. I don't think he's played it yet this season.
He actually has. His last game was on Renekton against
Okay, he did play
Taco.
it this week.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
was
yes,
a absolutely terrifying in lane pick.
Oh, yeah, game one, and then he played Camille game two. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, Rise ban instantly. Deep Thinking is a Rise main, so there's no hesitation there. Skarner ban.
The Skarner, yep.
Yep, probably a jungle. Ione. So it looks like Team Harmony is basically just like hitting some of the high points and comfort champs for Imagine Mountain. I wonder. Looks like they're thinking about the ban. I wonder if Mountain are going to target the jungle. Okay, they banned Samira. It's never a bad time to ban Samira.
Never is, and that is also a targeted ban at Harmony's AD carry, who did play it once last series and had a little bit of issues, but otherwise Samira is still a powerful champion. That's a Malzahar, and that's a Kaisa being first
Yeah,
lock
instant
in.
lock in.
And
Oh,
there's the
they are
Gragas.
gonna pick the Gragas. This could be a flex pick. I mean, Gragas is a flex pick, so they've got some options if they decide to lock that in. You know, I'm kind of wondering if Imagine Mountain are going to go for potentially like a Yasuo here. Uh, Monkey did play it in week 1, and what I'm looking at is aside from the Samira, it's basically
That's a Jhin.
yeah, well, not necessarily early, but like the Malzahar and Skarna suggest to me that you have like a mobile melee carry that you don't want the enemy team to be able to lock down. Something like the Yasuo, Yone who is banned, Aurelia potentially. Like basically, you want someone where the enemy team can't deploy their sit down button against you.
Yeah, things like Akali, things like I guess Diana to an extent.
Yeah. All right, so we got Leona Kaisa.
That is a potent lane combination
It's
right
a good
there.
way to lock down the Jhin through the Gragas.
Very easy for Leona to stack Plasma for the Kaisa. Probably looks like they need a disengage support then from Imagine Mountain.
They could flex Gragas down, and Gragas
They could.
deal with it, but I feel like you want that Gragas more in either the jungle or possibly in the top lane if Renekton gets locked in for Harmony.
I wonder if they're going to pick a solo lane here
Yeah,
in
they
Red
are. It's
3.
gonna be a set. So Harmony picking up set. That's definitely going top lane.
It's a really strong early game for.
There's the Yasuo. Yep.
There we go.
So they probably ban out 2 mids here. The advantage of a Red 3 solo lane pick is that you then immediately get to ban 2 counters to that champion, and you haven't shown it early. So Gragas Yasuo being such a potent combo, and knowing that because of how skilled Monkey is, that they want to focus attention around mid, I'm guessing that is going to be a jungle Gragas in that case.
Looks like it is. Looks like we have a no ban here.
It was a Zed ban. It was a Zed ban.
That's a smart move there to ban the Malphite as well, which that's counter engaged primarily. But
Yeah.
Malphite can, even if he can't really get through Leona, he can still cause a lot of trouble up front.
Yeah, and while Set is very good against tanks, because he's so attack speed based, if he doesn't fall too far behind, Malphite is pretty good at managing Set because of the attack speed slow on his E ground slam.
Team Harmony here is actually calling Imagine Mountain out on that Gragas pick and saying it's not support. They ban a Nami, which I think is a smart move. Everyone should ban Nami more. That support is annoying, and that's a Lulu.
Yeah, and Nami's a really good disengage support, pretty effective against Leona, particularly post 6 when she has Tidal Wave. So, and also Nami sets up very well for Yasuo because of the potential multi-person knock-up or bubbles. Lulu still offers some with Wild Growth, as long as someone gets into melee.
So Lulu actually offers a lot of setup with Jhin. So Lulu and Jhin do work quite well, and that's primarily because not only does her attack speed, her W polymorph work on Jhin as well to make him faster, but that is an attack speed increase, which for Jhin has some obvious scaling implications. She can glitter lance off of Jhin or off of a minion to stack up to set up a slow for his stun or for his root, as well as her ability to disengage pretty much any assassin in the game, which is primary reason you pick Lulu.
Yeah, and their only real dive. So that's a Trundle jungle, I'm assuming.
It would have to be, and I think that's calling out Gragas.
Really. I'm curious to see what the build is on the Trundle jungle, because in previous seasons it's often been you either do damage or you're tanky, but not both. I don't know how the new itemization has changed Trundle's builds, but Gore Drinker and Divine Sunder are both probably pretty good. Actually, any of the 80 Bruiser Mythics should be pretty good.
Should be good. That's a Swain. Ooh, Swain. Yeah.
I'm guessing Swain top, which potentially means that it's going to be maybe more of a tanky Gragas if they feel like they need a second magic damage source.
Yeah. They are going to be going into they could probably try to flex or swap the Yasuo top as well, because that Yasuo is going to be playing into a Ziggs who has a lot of poke and a lot of lane control with his bombs and his.
I don't
Sacrifice.
think Deep Thinking plays Yasuo though. I think he does play Swain, so I'm gonna call it as a Swain top. That's the judgment I'm making.
Also be a Jhin Swain bot lane with the Lulu top, because Lulu top's
Okay, so we have a slight holdup. The mid for Team Harmony's computer froze, so he's restarting, and he's gonna have to rejoin the lobby. But once that's all set up, then we will get right into the in-game draft, and from there go to the game after the 3-minute spectator delay.
Yep, and actually, kind of going back to one thing, the mentioning of possible Lulu top. So, as I have some experience on the champion. I've played her pretty much every role, including top lane, and into a set. You could do it. You don't want to.
Yeah, Lulu
Lulu-
top is really good if you get tilted and kind of run into it. But her wave clear is not amazing, so you can also just kind of shove her in.
Yep.
Especially if he goes for an Iron Spike Whip or a Tiamat very early.
Poor wave clear. Lulu's wave clear consists of auto attack, so it's not just the poor wave clear, but it's also the fact that Lulu's trade is actually something that can be disrupted simply by walking in front of a minion. Because yes, she can auto attack you, but the bulk of her damage is on her picks.
And on Glitter Lance.
Yep. If you're a set, so like you can easily kind of just.
It's pretty fast. But cute.
Yeah, you can walk, just slightly left in Glitter Lance. Glitter Lance is a slow skill shot. It's not that hard to avoid it. Combine that with really what you're hoping for if you're doing Lulu top, and I will just saying this more for information. What you're trying to hope for is he gets the 6, goes for the engage, gets polymorph, gets knocked up, and you have a jungler there to stop him. Because you have 2 seconds as Lulu once that polymorph goes down to get out. Once a set goes on you. Because that's about how long you're going to last.
I wonder whether Wild Growth counts as bonus health. Because it increases their maximum health, but I don't know if it's considered base or bonus. It is bonus health. So if Lulu Wild Growths someone and then Set ults that target, it's going to be a lot of extra damage.
Yep. And looks like our there is back, so we're now into the actual pick phase. And then we'll get onto that spectator delay. So now we'll actually see all the plans come together, at least for the draft, and we'll see who's going where.
I lost a solo queue game the other day because the enemy Lulu got 2 kills off a late invade and came back to lane with Sorcerer's Shoes and just obliterated my bot lane.
Yeah, Lulu can do that. Lulu is really good at early punishes. If you walk into her. Of course, she's also really good at dying early as well. I've done both ways. Less HP than a cannon minion.
Grounded.
Definitely going to be
So let's see.
interesting to see how Leona plays into how that matchup play.
Yeah, so with Koite's Set, Set is probably Koite's most played champion. It's one of his go-tos, so not surprised to see him put out, particularly because given that Imagine Mountain, I think could reasonably have been expected to save one of their solo lanes for a counter pick, and that it wasn't banned in first round. Team Harmony was like, we're going to grab it blind because it's Koite's favorite champion, and we're probably not going to get the opportunity to give him a counter pick, and we don't want to risk it getting banned. Okay, so it is Swain top, Gragas jungle, yes.
All right, so that makes a decent amount of sense there.
And the players are out of order, so that is Kai'Sa ADC, not Kai'Sa mid.
Yep. Although Kai'Sa mid still viable if you're crazy enough, but then again, it's also I guess technically still preseason, so everything's viable.
I mean, if you build Collector, anything's viable.
This is true.
So I don't know what the Set Swain matchup is like because I don't see Swain top very often anymore. I see him a lot in bot lane, either as a support or as the AP carry. But I know one of the issues in top lane is it's relatively easy to avoid his stun, particularly if you're in the midst of the minion wave. You essentially just run at him as soon as he casts it, because he doesn't root until it's on the way back, and the damage is very low uh, on either half. So you just kind of run at him, and then he probably doesn't get the root on you, and then you just start whacking him. The Q damage is pretty good on Swain, but given how strong Set is early, I think Deep Thinking is going to have to cede some pressure without Gragas intervention.
That's my thinking as well. The only saving grace Swain has is Set has to approach him and engage to get
Oh
him
ho,
down.
you're approaching me?
So yeah, so like, but yeah, he has to. We have to do a JoJo reference here, right? Just to
Yeah.
get at him, which
Yeah,
means
Set's
he
engage
has
is
more
very...
time.
Set's engage is kind of like the Skarner engage. You just run at people. Like, that's what you do. You just run fast at people. But overall, there's some good engage on Team Harmony. So I think as we're starting to get into the spectator delay, I want both of you to give me what's your prediction for who takes game one and why.
So okay, so looking at the compositions, I am going to favor Team Harmony, both because this is a composition I've seen them run before with minor modifications. I know they can run it, but also because this composition plays upon what is actually a fairly big weakness of Imagine Mountains team. That team composition there has exactly one champion that can dissuade a fight post level 6. All the other champions are either going in or in support of a dive. So from that sense, like Yasuo wants to go in with Gragas with Swain. Jin wants to stay back with Lulu. Your team's split. That's a real easy opportunity to get a Trundle or a Leona in there, and then or a Set from behind, and then suddenly your fight's over because your backup damage is gone. And there's
And
a
the
Sven
Leona
protecting.
ult at long range gives Kaisa the killer instinct. And suddenly Leona, Set, Kaisa are on top of your Jin, and he's just dead.
Yeah, your backline becomes your front line, and then everyone's dying. That's the worst case scenario. I can see Imagine Mountain winning this if they can hold off in the top lane, and if the Lulu can do her job throughout the mid game.
All right, Smurb, what's your prediction?
I think Mountain's gonna win this. Maybe a bit biased because they're a sister team, but I think it all comes down to how they survive the initial team fight with how they disengage. And I think with their comp, they need long lanes to be able to chase them down. So long river skirmishes and Gragas to have a beautiful disengage while Lulu feels the ship. And I think the extended team fights will go to Mountain if they're able to survive that sick engage from the Leona being run down by the Trundle and Set.
So there's actually something that was noted here, by the way, to kind of go into that, and it's the role that Lulu kind of plays in enabling Yasuo. Because if you look at this, there's not a whole lot on this team aside from Gragas that gives Yasuo the ability to press his buttons.
Lulu
Lulu
ult
enables
and
that.
Swain Pole both do.
Yeah. Like Lulu's ult is the biggest enabler from that one. The Swain pull can do it, although in my experience, the timing on the pull is so small that it can be very hard. It can be difficult to get that. Like
It's
Gragas
kind of
is
like
able-
Set Pull. Like, you can technically do it, but the window is quite small.
Exactly. So the most reliable options are going to be, you know, Wild Growth or pretty much anything inside of Gragas's any Gragas CC, which is a reliable trigger. That said, if you're using your Wild Growth defensively or offensively, you're not able to use it defensively. So yes, you can do that as Lulu, but you have to make that choice because the moment that Wild Growth goes out, guess where that set's going?
He's gonna grab whoever got Wild Growth.
Yep.
I don't know. I think the Gragas Yasuo, it's such a reliable combo. I don't think Monkey's going to have trouble getting the ults off. I do see one issue of like if Deep Thinking tries to go into the back line, as long as Koite's got enough MR, he can just ult the Swain away, and then Swain is left to awkwardly Severus Snape walk his way back.
Pretty much.
So we're in the loading screen, so let's do a runes and master check. So it looks pretty standard across the board for Team Harmony. Hail of Blades Kaisa, I think, is pretty common at this point. I haven't played Kaisa in quite a while. We do have a press attack Trundle. With
makes sense.
domination secondary, the press the attack to me suggests he might be going tank because press the attack doesn't have scaling; it just scales off level. So it doesn't matter whether you build tank or damage; it does the same amount of damage, and it sets up for your team really well. But the domination secondary makes me wonder if maybe he's just going to go carry Trundle with like Trinity Force and Sterox and some other damage items.
He doesn't have really any need to go tank between Leona and Set. There's enough tankiness there, but it would definitely help him out. I am noting here that they have a Conqueror Swain. Conqueror isn't as effective for ranged champions, which Swain is, so it'll be
He does stack it pretty fast though with his low cooldown Q, and I believe E into passive pull is 2 ability casts, so that would be 4 of the 12 stacks you need. Plus, the sustained healing is just pretty good for Swain.
Predator Gragas, the fast fat man. Yep, that's a bog standard with inspiration secondary. Conqueror Yasuo, well, yes. Dark Harvest Jin, it's actually kind of interesting. Most of the time I see them running Hail of Blades or Lethal Tempo.
I don't think people run Hail of Blades much on Jin anymore, or Lethal Tempo, because he doesn't benefit from the attack speed as much as you would think. In terms of the AD scaling, I even with crit, I see Dark Harvest a lot. He could go Fleet, and I was wondering if he would go Fleet just because of the threat of Leona, but he's trusting in Lulu to protect him here.
Yeah, which hopefully should help. Standard Lulu here. I guarantee you she's also running free ass boots and biscuits.
Yeah, the one big differential I notice is we have an Ignite on the Yasuo, but Teleport on the Zig. So obviously that keeps Ziggs in lane longer, lets him pressure tower a lot more effectively, but without an exhaust or a barrier or a heal or some kind of defensive summoner, he is going to have both less kill pressure and be more vulnerable to kill pressure from the Yasuo Gragas. But maybe he just assumes he's gonna die anyways, and he's like, I gotta be able to TP back after I die.
Yeah, to me that just says that Team Harmony's entire goal is the 1-3-1.
Yeah, you have Ziggs clearing a side lane, you have Koite pushing the other side lane, and then Lord Nick, Miss Sylvie, and Skin Kaju are in mid lane. Let me
It's
read
going to be interesting to see how this first clear affects Swain lane because he's not going to want to push into set, and he's very gank. Easy to gank.
Alright, so we have a lot of pings coming out. It looks like Team Harmony are going to 5 stack. I think, yeah, it looks like it's a 5 stack across the board. The Leona set is a pretty decent invade, but it would probably require either set flashing, or it would require. Oh, we have a pause coming out. Or Ziggs or Trundle to take something they don't want to. Like Trundle wants to start, I would assume W or maybe Q for the clear, but he needs to take Pillar, and he probably doesn't want to start with Pillar.
Yeah, Pillar doesn't help him at all, and if he does get Pillar, that means that you have to get an extra hard leash from bot.
Yeah. I'm actually curious whether you take Q or I think you would take Q first as Trundle. It's probably better damage.
Yeah, probably. I believe Q is Chomp, which is
Yeah.
it's your main sustain anyway. So
Yeah.
if you're Trundle, I suspect both jungles are going to start red here. Is what I would do to get for that extra sustain, and then Trundle can kind of try to turbo farm his way through and go for first crab. And then from there, I expect mid lane to be pushed in. which means Trundle could potentially try for an invade.
Yeah, I mean, see, the thing is though, like Yasuo has a lot of pushing power. Like he's vulnerable to getting poked during it, sure, but like his being manaless allows him to just spam tornado on the wave, which a lot of mages can struggle to deal with, particularly ones that are more mana hungry in the early game. Let's see, did SpongeBob his life? Yeah, obviously he took mana flow and he took boots and biscuits, so he should be pretty good on. He should be pretty good on mana for most of the game.
Yep, good management with
Free
mana
ass
flow band is
boots.
yeah.
Oh, no free ass boots on the Lulu.
Oh wow, that is actually so
Uh, Cosmic Insight and Biscuit Delivery.
Cosmic Insight. So she's going for more. She's going for the CDR build, which it's understandable. Although I think the free gold is actually more worth it for the Lulu. You
Free
honestly
gold
get
is just powerful for junglers in general, because not junglers, for supports, because of how limited their economy is no matter what.
yeah, and support economy is, as of the last couple of patches, has actually gotten worse than it was, a couple
Oh
patches
man,
ago.
trying to build Locket as a support, the Aegis of the Legion specifically. Oh, that thing is so expensive. I kind of don't mind that Sunfire got like yeeted out of existence, because now I don't have to build Aegis in top lane. That
Yeah,
item
which
feels so painful to build.
nice. So we are going to be seeing it. So yeah, Trundle's definitely doing the red side start. It looks like it's going to
Oh, it's
be.
a lane swap.
Yep. And I kind of suspected this. I would expect that you actually would want the Ziggs to deal with the range matchup anyway, and not to have to deal with the Yasuo.
Yasuo's, yeah, and Set's just a strong enough early champion that he'll be able to challenge the Yasuo pretty well.
Set's going to be doing this all lane to him, is just pulling him in and auto trading him, especially with the sustain from Doran's shield and his runes with second wind and revitalize.
And notably, nothing in Set's kit is blocked by Windwall. Haymaker is not affected by Windwall. I also like, if you look at the death recap after dying to Set, it specifically notes that his bonus regen, while it is called Heart of the Half-Beast to imply it's like a thing for being part Vestayan, he just hates losing. That is the reason why he gets bonus resists. He hates losing.
By the way, there we go. That's like half of Yasuo's HP down in more or less one
just
turn.
in time for this Gragas to clear.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he clears out his whole bot side. There is pinging out for an invade, but they do note that red side notes that there's blue vision. Trundle's looking for the invade here.
Trundle is probably he's gonna try to meet him at his red here, and
But he showed himself.
yeah, he stitched himself. Ziggs would have had the advantage if he wanted to call it up, but Ziggs set.
Set going in for a nice trade. I wonder if he's going to be able to answer this Trundle to be able to back him up.
Gonna be a smite fight here.
It is. Smite goes down to the Gragas.
Now Lord Nick's in a tough spot. He's already used Pillar.
He may have to flash. He does flash, and Yasuo is actually forced to flash away as well. This could potentially be bad.
It is a 3v2 collapse here, but they can't catch up to them in time.
And they're...
Yeah. So that's actually one flash for two. So in a way, it still is more beneficial to Harmony.
Yeah, and notably, while Trundle is going to slink off to get the bot scuttle, like, Trundle's a very powerful early jungler, and Gragas is not. So, pulling ahead as this Gragas is actually really advantageous. He's 2 camps ahead, he secures his buff, he's going to pick up the wolves from Trundle here. So, like, Crazed Juggernaut has really avoided what could have been a rough early game. Like, if he doesn't smite that Rev there, Trundle probably forces his flash or even kills him. And instead, he's going to be the beneficiary of a bonus camp, get one scuttle without issue, and have Trundle's flash forced.
Which is beneficial long run. The downside is obviously your Yasuo has flash, so if your Yasuo ever is somehow allowed to push up, which doubtful for right now for the next few minutes, he is vulnerable.
Yeah, so Set's already back, but he did not use his TP. He just walked back to lane, just picked up a cloth armor. It's a pretty big wave here. He probably doesn't want to fight that much into it.
He probably doesn't.
Unless he gets 177 damage Haymaker.
Yeah, there's really not much that you can do about that as Yasuo anyway.
Oh, so Monkey also took it back and came back with a Doran's shield. So the bonus physical damage to minions passive doesn't... Actually, right. Doran's Blade doesn't have it. So he does still benefit from that. It's the only Doran's item without the focus passive.
Gragas looking for a gank here in the bot lane. They incited on a ward.
They see him, yeah. They see him. They know he's there. If they're smart, they're going to back off, which they are.
Zig's really punishing this Swain. Just showing him how you're supposed to play that lane. Stay at your tower.
Yeah, how explosive Zig's bombs can be. Ha ha ha! I am available for birthday parties, ladies and gentlemen.
And speaking of explosives, one of the advantages that Ziggs has over the Swain in that sense, because his wave clear is just a little bit better.
Trundle's looking mid here. He's not spotted on a ward.
Set may need to flash for this if they really want to fight it. It's going to be hard to
Yeah,
be hard to lock down that Yasuo with just a pillar.
and he's pushing
Maybe,
it pretty hard, so I think he's just going to.
Yeah,
move
no,
on
Trundle's
and
just
get-
going to back off. No fight there.
So small CS lead in favor of Imagine Mountain in the bot lane. The Leona has not really had the opportunity to engage yet. Like Lulu hasn't used any of her biscuits. She's just sitting on 3.
Another trade goes down the mid lane, and it's more the same there.
Yeah,
that's
quite
actually
the-
a thing I'd like to point out about that bot lane. Both supports are currently running Relic Shield, and this is a thing that kind of appeared on Enchanter supports like Lulu a few patches back. It was basically when they changed Relic Shield to work with ranged champions, a lot of enchanters got back our consistent gold supply.
Yeah, because it's given that your support quest caps out at 1,000 anyways, like it's just a lot safer and the income is not that much slower unless you're getting to poke really freely. Predator was used top lane, but a good vision ward, good control ward spots that out.
All in all, a pretty slow-paced game and laning from Team Harmony. You'd expect them to be more aggressive in the bot lane.
About a 400 gold league. Well, speaking of being more aggressive, they are actually just going to collapse on that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, they know Gragas is on the top side, so there's no real threat there. And I don't know if Imagine Mountain must have suspected it was going on. So yeah, it looks like the junglers are going to trade blue side jungles. Gragas is currently taking Trundle's blue buff, and so Stevie and I'm Lucian in my mind have to back up because they should suspect that Trundle is on their bot side. The question is, what's Trundle going to take? Is he just going to take the blue? He is. So he's actually going to fall one camp behind. So there's a good farm advantage in favor of the Gragas here.
Lulu clearing.
Trade going down the top lane.
Oh yeah, there's a fight going down in.
Ziggs is somewhat low on mana.
The Swain pulling out the ult with a big flash, nice Q. Ziggs putting down as much poke as he can inside the Swain ult. Wicked flash. Is Swain going to be able to heal enough though? Well played.
So close.
Well played.
I think
Through the minion damage, I think SpongeBob's Life was hoping the minions would kill him, but demonic form there being just enough, and then the burst for the end to end it.
yeah, I think he was looking for like one last bouncing bomb to finish it off, but Deep Thinking did heal enough off of the wave that this could be it. I was wondering if Koite was going to go in there with the show. Oh, Showstopper's on cooldown. When did
Could
he
be
use?
pretty dangerous bot lane with Leona showing top, Kaisa down by herself. The Gragas might just clear and look to gank this.
He would, but Kaisa can be pretty annoying to try to lock down even solo. With her speed boost, she can run away if she really has to. And it looks like Gragas is instead going to back, so not going to risk that gank. Leona looks like she backed and is roaming up just to get some vision down, which is exactly what a good support should do.
So one thing I'm noticing is that Kaisa. So I'm pretty sure that's not any, like, you don't need double longsword after the Noon Quiver for any ADC mythic. So she's building something else, and my guess is she's going to grab an early serrated Dirk for the AD, and because it gets her closer to her Acathian Rain upgrade, but it will put her a little farther behind on getting her Kraken Slayer.
Leona and
Takes some
Trundle
decent
doing
damage.
this rift. I think they spot them, but they're just not going to contest.
I actually don't think they have any. No, they're not aware of it at all. So that's
They
a
may be
different-
guessing that it's going down, but yeah, they should know because Leona hasn't been on the map for quite a while. So, are they going to drop it here for plates? Is the question. They think they've caught the Trundle out, but
Really good.
They're
start.
already there,
Oh,
and you don't.
dodging
Okay, so
the
his
zig
comes
Subjugate's
out,
going to
but
go down.
This is actually.
Oh, the snipe!
Yeah!
Fiona ult from downtown.
Orbital laser incoming. Sylvie calls in the fire mission and claims a kill on Deep Thinking.
They're going to use this rift, but Gragas going to try and clear him off in time. I don't think it'll be enough with the Ziggs execute and rift.
Yeah, Ziggs a satchel charge up as soon as yep, there it is.
Satchel charge right there. Turret goes down. Rift gets a tower gold. Excellent play in the top lane to swing the gold in favor of Team Harmony. Now it's just 100, but that small lead is enough.
And notably, about 30 seconds ago, it was a 1,200 gold lead for Imagine Mountain. So that just all vanished. And yes, you know, some of that is from the Rift Herald, and there's still gold in terms of plates on the map for Imagine Mountain to take. But, you know, they still got the first dragon. Second dragon is going to be Earth, so we are looking at an Ocean or a Cloud Soul Rift. Ocean Soul feels so good. I mean, Cloud Soul's always good, but I feel like Cloud Soul is like, there's a lot of champions like having a Cloud Dragon, but there's specific champions that really like a Cloud Soul.
Yeah, I
It's
will
really
say,
fun on
also
Mortar.
like having that Cloud Soul. Imagine Mountains actually would like it. Movement
Yeah,
speed loss,
Lulu
ult,
ult, Dragon ult.
reduction, Swain ult.
A little trade going on in the mid here. Nothing.
Also, I
special.
suppose Trundle Subjugate. He presses R on you and then just like blitzes at you at maximum speed. So it is going to be a tank Trundle. He's got the Bomby Cinder. We don't know yet what item he's
Oh, here's
building,
the fight
but
going down in the jungle though. That's
he's going to
flash.
flash.
He's
Gonna
gonna
be
be. That's a
Coming down from the top lane, Jin ult, landing one
committing
shot, two
a
shots.
lot for
Beating-
this.
There's the fourth shot. Is Gragas going to be able to
Four
finish
shot
this
hits.
off?
Ooh, that's a black. Yeah, he's dead.
Swain pulling out the ulti on the back line. And no follow-up, so they're just going to make it out soon.
So yeah, so they get Lord Nyx's Flash Null, and they are going to be rewarded with the Dragon. So that's a good pick right as the Dragon is coming up. But it was a lot of commitment. You burn 2 ults and Top's Teleport. I think you call it worth overall, but yeah, I'm not sure where Ziggs was during that fight. His Teleport was on cooldown. He may have been pushing out top lane.
He was mid lane. He did contribute an ultimate to that fight to try to
He
dissuade
did, yes.
further aggression. But realistically, it's worth, but only because the dragon spawn was there.
Yes, true. That's what made it worth. I'd like to see a Randuin's at least out of Trundle and preferably out of Leona and Set as well, because with both a Yasuo and a Jhin, Randuin's has a lot of value. The AD and crit reduction really hits characters like Jhin and Yasuo really hard because they crit on essentially all of their attacks from the mid game onwards. Jhin a little bit later, but just the active is very powerful and can do a lot to really cut the damage out of these two champions.
That's definitely the case there. That late game and checking back out on gold. Despite the fact that Imagine Mountain got a kill and an objective, their lead is actually only about 400 gold.
Yeah, overall, the plate lead is slightly in favor of Team Harmony because they got all 5 plates off of top tier 1, and they've lost 2 plates off of mid and 2 plates off of bot. How did they get? No, they didn't get any plates off of the bot lane.
Gragas looking bottom to lane gang.
It's definitely an option. There's really no one there to help out at the moment, but it's also a risky play.
They're trying to catch the Yasuo here.
Kaisa
He's
trading
being slowed
really
by the red
well,
buff.
dodging the Shin W. Gragas still just looking there. Finally losing his patience.
Yeah, no, there is no way in that situation you set up for a fight unless Kaisa overcommits, which he's not going to do because Leona didn't go in. However, as we stated earlier, Koiti's just going to a different lane now. And
I think he gets a kill in about 3 seconds when Flash Grab is up. Okay, he's backed up enough. But yeah, deep thinking's very low, and he could probably get dunked before he'd be able to heal enough.
I think that's what Koite's exactly looking for. Okay, that's a bit of.
That
Oh, there we
was
go.
Rolling with a wicked
That's a
W.
haymaker.
Oh, good
Puts your
flash.
power down. Ooh,
Swain
but
showing
into the
that
wall.
wicked healing from his ult.
Swain flashed the haymaker. He probably should have flash facebreakered showstopper into the haymaker then. But as a result, he not only doesn't get the true damage, he doesn't even get any of the physical damage. So Swain takes almost no damage there until the ult goes off. And because of Swain's flash direction, he's then stuck under tower and just takes too much damage from the tower. Notably, he is going Bork first and build Ninja Tabby, so like he's got no MR and not even much
Coming
health.
in on the Yasuo landing a pillar, forcing him to flash.
That's a good play there for that mid to get back mid lane control, but doesn't really seem like they can get much out of it aside from just control. For the time being.
Yeah, Yasuo, manaless, able to keep pushing even against the Ziggs, though. He's not going to get close to the tower, but he can probably keep Ziggs off of his tower. I'm curious to see what item Yasuo goes as far as the ADC mythics. Usually you see Yasuo and Yone going the Immortal Shield Bow. The sustain and shield in the fight is really powerful for them, but it could be
Zed
Gale
trading
Force
really
how
well
strong
with
it is.
Swain, but Gragas using Predator to back
That's a
him up.
predator gank, and that's a lot of damage that goes
That
down.
is
Koite's
a
about
lot
to
of
die here
damage.
again.
And that's a lot of
Okay.
damage from the Ziggs ult, but Gragas with the fade away. Kobe.
He almost healed through it with the Vampiric Scepter healing, but he did not have Haymaker up. One issue with the Blade of the Ruined King build is it gives you no ability haste, and the Haymaker cooldown is relatively long at this point. I think he's probably got 2 levels in it, so it's probably about 16 seconds.
I don't know if I would have built Ninja Tabby into a Swain top with an AP jungle. I think Merc's definitely would have been
He's
the buy
building
there.
more for the Jhin and the Yasuo, who are going to be the bigger damage.
Who both
threats
built Gale
later.
Force. Yeah, he was laning against the Yasuo, so it was a pick against his laner,
Yeah.
but obviously it then hurts him when he's dealing with the other solo laner who's a different damage type.
Yep, and doesn't even auto attack all that much to begin with, which is where Ninja Tabby's is at its strongest anyway.
I think Ninja Tabby's works on tornado damage, because those are considered auto attacks, I believe.
Yes, I think it does. Anything that's considered an auto or an empowered auto, it does reduce damage for.
It might depend on when you get hit.
So
Because,
here's a Drake setup, by the way.
Mountain
So
setting
there's
up
5 there.
really
Koite's
well.
top lane, he's not teleporting in. The dragon's going down real fast.
Yeah,
They're
there's no way
loading their top really fast. They're looking for the engage. Gragas going forward, but I think Trundle Pillar is just going to be enough to back them off. Fiona with
Koite's
the
TP'd
ult,
on the
and
flank.
They're able to get out.
And there goes the Superflex in and right through the team. A lot of damage going
No
down
one
through here.
back
Jin ult
out
comes out.
the
Jin gets
game.
out with his life. Yasuo deletes Kaisa, but he might pay for it. He does pay for it as Leona takes the kill. Gragas with the magical glowing to save his life, and 2 more kills are picked up by Swain, Trundle, and Leona go down. That is a 4-for-1 in favor of Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, so Koite has a really great flank TP, but notably, the Yasuo, the Gragas, and the Jhin all split off to the right around that little bend towards bot tier 1, and Lulu and Swain move up towards Set. So he grabs the Lulu, ults her into the fight, but she then flashes out. He chases her to try to get a charged Haymaker to finish her off, but it doesn't do enough damage, and he just falls down to the Swain damage. Yasuo goes into the back line. I mean, sure, he dies, but the Swain, who's now 5-1 with Leandries, is just allowed to follow behind the Gragas with the aid of the Jhin roots to just clean up there.
They were able to survive that Leona gauge really well and space out all of their damage to keep their heavy hitters alive for fairly long, considering the wombo that.
Yeah, and one thing that's an issue, you notice, is there are 2 kills on the side of Team Harmony. They're both on the Leona. There's some assists on the... Oh, hold on a second. My cat is doing something.
Yeah, So to kind of point out what went wrong there really with for Team Harmony, it's a little bit of target selection. If you're a set and your only option to engage is on the Lulu, the moment that Lulu's out of the fight, done with her. She can't do anything else in that fight. She steps in that fight, she dies. You should turn around and you re-engage onto the Swain or whoever else you can engage onto.
Trundle coming with the killer, picking on the Gragas. Gragas throwing his ult to disengage. Jhin landing the W. Set just going for the backline, ulting the Gragas, landing his W for the kill. Wow, what a play from the Set. What a man. Jhin
Yeah, that was a
destroying
really
the
good
ult.
flank, the flash ulti, but now they're very low. Yeah, Monkey may be looking for a re-engage. He hits one, but they actually drop the Rift Herald?
That just was out the timeout, so they probably just may as well drop it. Better late than never.
Yep.
They're trying to
But
clear
deep
the wave
thinking is
here.
full health.
Yeah, here it goes. 6-man Rift.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. There's no anti-heal on the side of Team Harmony, so like they don't really have a means to kill the Swain unless they get a really good pick on him here.
Morella Namakan looks like it's going to be the word of the day for Ziggs.
Yeah, he's going to really need that right away.
Ooh.
Oh, I was wondering if he was going to take that.
Landing a lot of poke and delaying
Your
these
mind is
baits.
telling you no, your body is telling you yes. Yasuo with his health bar could have survived that.
I don't think he does though. Like he kills the Kaisa for sure, but with the Ziggs in the set there, I don't think he lives. And trading 1 for 1 for an 0-1 Kaisa is not really worth it.
But not in the long run, no. And
As
now
the-
we actually kind of see here rather the state that we wanted to avoid, that we were talking about earlier, which is Koichi having to teleport down to support his team as they fall apart. It's already had to
See-
happen twice, and both fights have been pretty significant losses.
See, you can say that, but I also feel like up until that flash showstopper to secure the Graga shutdown, like Koite's had a bit of a rough time. Like he's matching up against the Swain, who he doesn't have the items to really deal with. He's very squishy. Like he could maybe match the Yasuo in a side lane, but he is not equipped to really match this Swain. Yeah, he takes half his health there. Yeah, he just gets exploded before the haymaker goes off. He probably lost a quarter of his health to one of those shotgun hands. Like Urgot has shotgun knees, and Swain's got the shotgun hands.
The man
So like
sees
he's
it
not
all.
really in a position where he can actually threaten someone on the side lane, except
going
maybe
for
from
Yasuo
Trundle.
is
Getting
engaging
the
here,
ult
but that
from
could be a
Trundle there.
mistake as Trundle's coming down. Yasuo's gonna get the kill. He's gonna dive though to the Ziggs, like from the grave actually.
Yeah, I think that was a tower shot after the damage came through from the Trundle.
Tower shot, and then he actually stepped on one of Ziggs' mines.
Ah, okay, that's what did the damage. Let's see. How long until? So the dragon's up. Trundle's
Teleport's
already
coming in now.
on it, but yeah, he's outnumbered. There's a TP coming in from the Swain. They're gonna have to give this up. That'll be a third dragon to Imagine Mountain.
And that, with them having that 20% ultimate cooldown, it's huge. They're
Ah,
gonna be
the Prey Seeker was close. Oh no, Void Seeker. Prey Seeker is Rex IQ.
A whole lot of seeking going on in the void. You noticed?
Yeah.
Probably due to lack of light.
Yeah, I in the promotional materials for Rek'Sai, she was referred to as the Queen of the Zersai, but her actual title in game is just the Void Burrower, which I guess would be like calling Cho'Gath the Void Eater. And I am definitely opinion that Queen of the Zersai was a much better title.
Yep. Definitely in agreements with there. Which we're clearly not stalling for time as we're waiting for them to set up for the next fight. As everyone's just gathering more resources, prepping for the next objective spawn, which really is probably going to be Baron.
They've
If
already
I
sent
were
their-
Metro Mountains, I'd be setting up for Baron.
They've sent their Swain bot to maybe prep the waves for this, but Trundle's going to be here to answer this Swain.
Yeah.
Wonder
See,
if
I think if you're Imagine Mountain, you maybe don't want to look. So the thing with Imagine Mountain is you need to get Baron because you're not going to crack a Ziggs base without Baron. There's just no way to get through Ziggs push. Not unless you can get pushes on opposite sides so that Ziggs can't answer both. But like even then, he could ult one of them. So I like on one hand you need Baron. On the other hand, Baron's like the only way you lose with the lead you have right now. Like you have Swain, he's scaling very effectively. He's working on what I assume is Demonic Embrace, for even more tankiness and damage in the extended fights. And like the only way you really lose or get behind now is if the enemy team steals Baron. Trundle's only a level down. Zig's ult is not terrible at stealing Baron. So if I'm Imagine Mountain, I'm kind of like, do we want to farm and just chill until Cloud Soul comes up, and then after we've got the soul and potentially the advantage that it brings, then we look for Baron.
That's probably what they're thinking, and I think I'd say that's probably your correct course of action, because Koiti is not effective as a laner.
Yasuo going in
And
on
he's
this
getting
set,
everyone right now.
dodging the haymaker really well. Finish
Yeah,
it.
that's just an easy pickup. Like even with the plated steel caps, like it's a Bork and a pickaxe. He just doesn't have any health. I mean, Monkey might have more health than him on the Yasuo, and so he's just not. He's not at a point where he can 1v1 someone in the side lane. He's not at a point where he can frontline or tank. So it's really tough for this set right now. Okay, he's got a little bit of health with the Kindle Gem for what I assume is Stridebreaker.
That'd probably be his best bet.
Actually-
The downside is you're a Set you're kind of in the mid game now, so Set's really out of his element as far as when he's at his strongest.
Yeah,
they're
Juggernauts
doing
are
Baron.
great in the mid game if you're ahead.
They're doing Baron right now.
Yeah, and
They're
I was
not
gonna say
gonna
they
be
could
able to
2-man it, but they won't have to 2-man it.
No, they won't.
unless Set's teleporting from behind. Leona
But they're looking for the
tries that,
defense.
there's
Swain
big
isn't
teleporting
there.
from him.
Yeah, this could be a 4 versus 5. Gragas is currently kind of low or lower. Set goes in. He gets polymorph. The Baron goes down anyway. That's a shutdown. That's 2 kills actually.
Swain coming in with the ult. Leon
That's
going
3
for the
kills,
field.
actually.
Jin is ulting the Leona. Oh, are they able to lock down the Swain? Swain getting the kill
Or-
on Jet. And that is
Only one
not a
person
very
left,
big
and that is a
threat.
Jin who's gonna get out. Yeah.
Yeah, Stevie pings his own ult, is up, but was not cast. So that is like, that's kind of what I mentioned. Like they do get the Baron, but it's only on Jin, and that loss there is going to really hurt them. They're going to get this first tower. They should save the satchel charge for the second tower, which they do. Because realistically, with them still having 10 seconds down, are they going to go for 3? No, they're not going to go for 3. But that
Yeah,
is
right.
some much needed gold in the pocket of Team Harmony. And it means they're only about 2k down. And considering that Baron gives your team 1500k, they've actually, like, they've done a lot to try to neutralize or to minimize the deficit they're at. The shutdowns on the Swain was really powerful.
Actually, one of the more important things there is the fact that Kaisa was actually able to get those kills on the shutdown.
Yes, that's
Get
true.
the
That was
shutdown.
really huge for that carry, getting those kills.
This is,
Trundle's building a Bramble Vest, so he's got a little anti-heal, but there's still no other anti-heal. And Sylvie didn't even take Ignite. Like, they really need more anti-heal for this Swain.
They're setting
They
up
do.
for the Cloud
They're
Soul.
setting up here, yeah.
Predator's active. Crazy Juggernaut's looking for a way in here. But there's a lot of poke with this Ziggs, and he's got the tier, so he can just keep throwing bombs out forever. The poke advantage is definitely on the side. Koita's
He's
going in
on
for
the
a
side
flank
He's
here.
going in. Oh, he gets stopped though. He gets the superplex. He does die for it. Kaisa goes
Oh,
down.
that's just a gigantic Yasuo ult. He is going to fall, but... Oh, no, he doesn't die. How did he not die?
A lot of healing from the looks of it, as well as red
Yeah.
buff. And that's going to be Dragon down. Yasuo is hunting to scale. He's probably... Yeah, he's going to get it here eventually, but...
Is
Oh no, he walks
No.
away.
Yeah, he passed on that.
But he is just healing off those minions. That tower's going to go down.
And
Those are-
notably, Jin still has Baron.
Yep, the one Baron buff is going to be used to steamroll down this lane here. Jin's going to take a
Looking
tower
for
shot.
the flash on the Ziggs.
Yeah,
Really
he flashed
aggressive.
forward to try to, but he didn't have Gale Force to get in range. So they're going to get both mid towers. It looks like they're going to go for the top tower. Baron's probably about to wear off. We can't tell in spectator mode how long Baron lasts. We don't have a Red Bull Baron power play, unfortunately.
Be off the next couple of waves here. And it looks like they're going to take advantage of that to get all of the outers and inner turrets cracked.
And that's a 7k gold difference just when before that dragon fight, it was 2.5 to 3K. Correct
Yeah,
me if I'm wrong.
massive number of kills there. 3 towers. See, yep, Staff of Flowing Water on the Lulu. I feel like people just go for Staff over Ardent Sensor. I think it's probably because of the amount of AP Staff gives you.
Probably that, but also like Ardent has but a shadow of its former glory now, with what it used to be able to do compared to what it does.
True.
Does. So if
And
you're a
Lasagna's
huge
third for Ziggs.
support-
Like, there really needs to be more anti-heal than just the Trundle Bramble Vest, and there isn't. You know, you've got a Moonstone Renewer on the Lulu that's healed 2,300. Yasuo's just gotten his Bloodthirster. Jin might have run. He's run Legend Bloodline, so he's got a little bit of lifesteal. Like, there's a lot of healing. There's a good amount of healing on the side of Imagine Mountain, and there's just almost no ways to deal with it on the side of Team Harmony.
Not outside their base. Team Harmony
Yeah.
has been playing pretty well with defending the towers and backing off, not giving picks to be able to force the 4v5s under tower, and they're just not able to crack the base.
Yeah, without having a Baron buff that's active, they're not going to get to the Ziggs wave clear. Like, the Minefield does 306 each, so that just obliterates a mini wave. Yeah, 1900 health on this set. He's just so fragile.
not just that. It's not just like this might just his low HP though. He's also just not doing anything when he gets in.
Yeah, because he can't survive long enough to do it. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of resists. He just got a little bit of armor, like.
And also a shout out to Imagine Mountain's vision control because they have spotted Set out literally every single time he's gone for flank, except once, and the one time they did it, Gragas died.
Yeah. They're not letting him do the set insec where you yeet someone into your team. They've just have not allowed him to have that opportunity. And I'm guessing that Deep Thinking, yeah, that's a relays. So it's gonna be even harder for like the Trundle and the set to exist here because like Swainel's just gonna slow everyone in a team fight.
Yeah, Rylai's to slow them, and then Leandri's to do what Leandri's has always done. So not only now, by the way, is that they're going to be slowed, they're going to be burning for percentage HP.
Yeah, with Leandri's plus Demonic, that's 1.2% from Demonic and another 1% from Leandri's plus 19.
They're looking to collapse on this level 17 Yasuo. This is pretty scary if he plays this right, but Swain's teleporting to back him up. I think they're just going to call Baron here and maybe look for this extended fight.
They've got okay vision control, but like if you see both of the entrances to the blue side jungle on the side of Team Harmony they have no wards there. Like they have to face check some dark corner if they want to actually get close to this Baron. I think the only reason Imagine Mountain hasn't started it yet is that the Gragas is not here yet.
And Gragas joins up here real soon, so this Baron's about to start up. And that is going to be... This is with this this Cloud Soul going, so this next fight is probably... I'd say it's a very good chance that this is the last fight.
Yeah, they kind of have to get in there, but like Baron's at half.
They're rotating through mid. They're gonna go over a ward, but
they're too slow.
They're just gonna back off. Swain looking to engage. Jin throwing out his ult.
Not going to back off at all. They're just gonna
Killer's
fight.
doing a lot to disengage there.
And they're not gonna be able to make anything from the Jin ult, but Set going in on the Swain.
Sonya's.
Yasuo coming over the wall with a big flash. Dealing with the backline. Set ulting him back, getting the shutdown on the Jin. But Yasuo just proving too much with his level advantage.
Yeah, they do pick off the Jin and the Swain at the very end. But, Yasuo is still going to be able to push this. He's got so much healing.
And that combined with the fact that you have a Yasuo with a Gragas and Lulu left, meaning you have plenty of shielding and plenty of
Healing.
left over.
Easy heal. Yeah, he heals 182. That's not too bad. They're going to take the inhib, but with Ziggs up, they are not going to go for the end. So Team Harmony, they do get a bit more time, and Elder's about to come up. It looks like Yasuo and Gragas are running right for it. Lulu has had to back. She was quite low. They're just going to start it up. Dragon is not super threatening, so it's mostly a question of can they get there in time to intervene. There is no smite on Crazed Juggernaut. He's a few seconds off of having it.
You would be able to
There is
outburst this
no
through the
vision
signal.
in. So he has to pull right about now, I think.
Oh,
It's a little early. Oh, Zig.
That's what's going in the
tornado.
back line, showing him what he can do, putting a lot of damage on the Trundle.
It actually looked there like the Zigzal got intercepted as well.
Did it hit? I think it
it-
did go off, though. I don't know if Zigzalt is stopped by Windwall, but it did go off, I believe.
Yeah, so put the dragon down to 400.
Yeah, and
Okay,
it was
so-
just a little bit early, but he had to throw it then, so.
Mistimed it, had to throw it, and unfortunately you were in range for a spinning wall of death, which is
Yeah.
so
It's a
Not
little
really
hard to
something
engage
about
on Mountain when you have a Yasuo who's just going to dive to your back line.
Yeah, like and not just his tornadoes, though that was what he hit there, but like, you know, the carries, Skinkage and SpongeBob Life, they cannot ever be close enough to get hit by a Gragas ult, because if they do, they die. Like, or a body slam flash. Like, if they're ever in range of one of those knockups, then they're toast.
Speaking of being in range of knockups, they're about to be here real soon as the tower is crashed. And
Do you
it's just
think-
gonna go down.
Yeah, Deep Thinking's pushing bot lane. I think they're going to have to make the stand at the Nexus towers. The Gragas explosive cast is thrown out just for a little bit of damage.
Yep, party cast goes out. The Jin ult is thrown down.
Yeah,
This is
Baron's
going on
up
for
and they have
the-
Elder. This is their best. This is the moment Harmony, Imagine Mountain want to end this. They just want to go all in here. Looks like they're going to go in with this wave. Looking like they're trying to keep as much
Catching
wave
the
through as they can,
pick
but
on
that's
the-
catch on the Zig.
It's almost removed from the face of the rift there. Decides it's Onia's to survive.
They're doing a good job clearing the waves, but they're about to lose one of those towers.
About to lose two of those towers here real soon, as it looks like.
Swain landing a really good combo onto the Kaisa. Kaisa trading really well, baiting out the Swain.
Not quite enough though, as they go down. And that looks like it's actually going to be game.
Yep, they are going to pick off the Gragas, but that's two. And I think it ended for us.
Yep. Right now, when the spectator freezes, the game is over. So it
All
looks
right.
like,
So I'm going to take a guess that Imagine Mountain won that game.
say there's probably about a 99% chance that that is indeed the case. As,
So what do we? So here's my question always: like when we see a match where I think there were points where it came back, but by the end it was a very commanding lead for Mountain. What do Harmony change?
the first thing they change, their vision score.
Fair.
Because so it was a lot better this time from the support. A vision score of 102 is great. Your set had a vision score of 22 compared to 58 from his lane opponent. Your Kaisa had a lower vision score had a better vision score than the Jin, but still didn't really help out there. Overall, the vision score seems to be leaning like the vision control that Harmony had didn't seem to be in the right places once the mid game had passed.
I think that in the mid game, all the times they spent having set match Swain was also a mistake. Like he's built Ninja Tabby and Bork. Like he should be matching the Yasuo. He should not be matching the Swain.
Going against that Swain, if you're really going to go against a Swain, send the Kaisa.
Yeah.
Or send the Ziggs, who can just eternally shove Swain out, and Swain can't do anything if he doesn't have a minion wave to work with.
Yeah, it definitely looked like sort of just the default top laner behavior of, well, I'm going back top because that's my lane. But like he really was not equipped to be matching the Swain at that point in time. And there were some solo kills, and there was just like times where he's not effectively punishing. He's not really denying the Swain any farm that got Swain really fed. And like Swain was just such a behemoth in these team fights in terms of damage he was putting out and attention he was drawing.
And I think
That
that's the mistake of Team Harmony was not punishing the Swain pick enough.
yeah, Swain's like not a strong early laner in top lane. And like you didn't really gank it at all. And you didn't really like because you put the Ziggs up against it to farm when you could have like left the set top lane and sent Trundle to gank it and tried to like, force the flash, get some kills on the Swain.
I feel like what they were trying to do there was they were trying to send Koiti their best laner against the Yasuo because the Yasuo is an obvious scaling, like late game scaling threat, right? So I think their logic was, well, let's put our best early game player against one of their strongest late game tools in the Yasuo, and see if we can't bully him down to the point where he can't do anything. And I think that's where they made their mistake there. They didn't pivot fast enough from it. They didn't instead re-switch the lanes over, get the set, you know, or get the set into that Swain to bully him even harder because they the first 10 minutes, okay, it didn't work. Revert back to the original plan. Don't try to force something to work that doesn't, and that I think that's what Team Harmony kind of failed to notice was that it wasn't working.
Well, and they played a little too passive. Like they drafted a pretty strong early laning phase in the bot lane, and Leona had roamed up to help put map pressure top lane just to have Kaisa solo bot lane. So I think they just didn't play their matchups as well as they could have for this game, and hopefully they do by the next game.
And I saw an insight from chat, by the way, before we go to a quick intermission. Gore drinker on set. Sustain on your engaged champion, guys. And it looks like we're going to be getting everyone back into a lobby. But before we go into game 2, we are going to take a quick break as well. So everyone else in chat, sit back, get some snacks, go to the restroom, do whatever it is whilst we ourselves prepare for game number 2 of Team Harmony versus Imagine Mountain. And welcome back, everyone, to Game 2 of Imagine Mountain versus Team Harmony, Shrumia Division Seal. We are switching things up, and by switching things up, I mean switching sides, as we're about to get ready here to get into Pro Draft.
Yep. So the early game, I think, was a little more back and forth in that game, but by the mid to late game, it was very much in Imagine Mountain's control. So I think that Team Harmony need to find a way to stop things from sort of spiraling out of control in that transition from the early to mid game, because their early game plays, particularly around neutral objectives, were quite good. But then, they had deaths in side lanes, people kind of getting unnecessarily picked off. And so they need to tighten that up and make sure they're not overextending in positions where they're not really going to gain much for it.
There were a lot of questionable plays about the way they were contesting things without vision, and that's just Imagine Mountain denying them so much vision. That Lulu did a really good job.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of the early games and those containments, I think your first thing here is, as how much as I don't like to say it, really evaluate what Koiti's supposed to be doing. Because it felt like you kind of like, sure, it's a set, right? So your job is naturally the job of a set is to support the team fight, but it felt like Koiti was trying to play in such a way that really didn't help in that sense. So it felt like the champion and the role was not quite matching up to the objectives of the team, which itself then led to some engages that, quite frankly, were at best questionable, at worst downright fatal to that team fight.
Yeah, you're not utilizing Koite's skill set well. Yes, I believe we are ready to get in draft. I've been told by production that the draft is ready, so we're going to switch over to that.
Yeah, draft switch over. Teams look like they're ready to go. And what are you thinking that they're going to change up in their draft years? They start getting into the bands. What would you change if you were Imagine Mountains and Team Harmony?
Well, for Imagine Mountain, I'm guessing there may not be the Skarner Malzahar ban, because I think that was specifically a setup for the Yasuo, so that you could red 3 the Yasuo, and you may not have that option this time. So I don't think Imagine Mountain necessarily needs to ban anything differently, but they could target out the set potentially, because Koite is likely to get counterpicked this time. I think for Team Harmony, either ban the Swain or make sure that Koite is getting counterpicked, so that, okay, it's going to be almost the same bans. Team Harmony drops the Rise ban in favor of a Yasuo ban. So they are going to offer Deep Thinking his most played champion in return for saying, we're not going to have the Crit Brothers in this game.
I think I don't know if that's the smartest one there. I don't actually feel like the Yasuo was most impactful. I definitely agree that the Swain should be what was removed.
And
But
they
they're not gonna
immediately
worry about
first
it
pick the
anyway.
Rise, yeah.
Yep, because instead you get a Rise. So guess who's building Magic Resists?
Though notably, they could do what they did last time in lane swap, so that you put your mage up against Rise, which is an easier matchup, and potentially send Koite against another assassin type player.
If they do that, then they're really gonna have to punish this Rise. Oh my god. To be able
No,
to,
that's actually that is a smart move actually. I think, regardless of what the next player is, because assassins don't like Camille. Rise can deal with her, but by the time she's in range, you got to be really fast on that route.
Oh, they are going to do the Camille, yep.
So next up, we're going to be looking at red 2 pick here.
Yeah, Camille's generally, the early game is a little tough, but Camille is good at dealing with ranged champs later on into the mid game, because she's just so good at gap closing and sticking to them with the Hextech ultimatum.
That's an interesting possibility for a jungle pick here, and a good idea to counter the Gragas with something that just does a lot of damage. And they're going to be doing it. It's an ADC jungler.
looking fairly squishy on Team Mountain, but definitely a lot of fast tempo, high damage carries.
Yeah,
I
they're going
mean-
all in, so maybe they need like a more of a tank jungle instead of the Lulu.
Tanky. I'd agree. Tanky support. Maybe they can look at picking up the Leona, or worst case, you maybe unbench the Kench. But I'm not so sure how Kench is doing in this meta right now.
I don't know if I'd want Kench here though, because Kench is just such like he's good at protecting AC, but he's not going to offer any any engage. Like this would be a case where maybe Mountain. I'd say pick up the Leona, but like Leona's not amazing into Sivir.
Do the Maokai.
You could, though. The question is, are you going to build it tank, or are you going to build it Imperial Mandate? And this is, I don't think the Maokai nerfs have gone through yet for support Maokai.
Probably not. That's a Kiana coming out. They're going to actually not give Team Harmony the option here, or themselves, and Leona's going to get removed.
Smart
So,
ban.
yeah, Imagine Mountains understands their weakness. They know that they don't have the ability to survive full frontal engage.
So they're really targeting the mid here. They are going to answer with the Lulu because
That is smart. That's
Yeah.
very smart.
Lulu
actually.
makes Camille's life hard.
Mountain coming again, another engage support ban for them. So they're looking to keep this Jhin and Rise fairly safe.
So do they have an? Are there like? Is there like an engaged mid laner they can pull out? I'm just trying to think like Galio. I'm just thinking because like right now you've got a team that's high in damage, short on CC and engage.
Well, there's your answer to that. They're going to
No, I
actually
mean Nami brings
Nami.
decent engage. Yeah.
CC engage, disengage, heals, shields. You
Still no
pretty
answer
much
to this
total
dive
package
on Camille
changer.
though with the Gragas. Because they're going to be fairly tough if they don't have front line.
Here's a
right?
scary thing as well. Team Harmony answered was Team Harmony picked Seraphine as their support, which doesn't seem very scary until you realize that Seraphine really, really likes to act as a dive buddy, and that's a lot of dive on Team Harmony right now.
Yeah, like Seraphine is very very potent right now. Like super good at setting up engages. Her early lane, her poke is great in bot lane, but her early lane can be a little soft. But her team fight power is insane. So they are going to pull out the Ivern,
That
So
Ivern
is that
not
a-
going jungle, by the way. That
a
That's
top
an
Ivern, and they swap the
Ivern?
rise to mid.
Ivern top is viable, and before people laugh, yes, it was done professionally. It actually can be quite potent. It's more a matter of they're looking at like the Moonstone Renewer and the Horizon. That's an Oriana mid, which is just a general good. It's a good supportive mid
They
laner
have a
for this
very
kind of
fast
position in
team
Harmony.
Harmony. They're looking to engage very fast and disengage very fast.
So I'm wondering if it's a Graves mid actually, because the thing with the Ivern top is that like maybe you lane swap Monkey and Deep Thinking, but like Deep Thinking is a Rise main. Why would you, if you got Rise, why would you not put him on it?
I think that is an Ivern top. I've just played against an Ivern top today, and it was really annoying because he has weak laning, but you're going to see this Graves top a lot if it is an Ivern top, and this Ivern will just follow this Graves everywhere. And
I have 2 words for you, by the way, why you put Ivern top. Moonstone Renewer.
Right, but like I'm not debating the value of the Ivern. I'm debating why would you sacrifice the value of putting your top laner, who had a very strong performance last game, not on his main champ. Maybe you send
There, I
Monkey
suspect
top.
it's a lane swap.
Yeah, my guess is if you're going to do the Ivern top, you send Monkey top and you put Deep Thinking in mid with the Rise. Or you run Graves mid and put the Ivern in jungle.
Grounded.
which a Graves mid into Oriana is not actually bad because they both have fairly good wave clear. And with the idea with Graves mid is you push the tower and you roam for the skirmishes in the jungle, which he can do really well even with an Ivern jungle. So they're looking pretty. They're looking
So it's
for those
possible that Imagine Mountain are now having to figure out who. Okay, so it is going to be Rise on Deep Thinking on Rise.
So one of the reasons why I would think you wouldn't go Ivern jungle here is Ivern jungle. Yeah, see, they're not gonna do it. They're gonna go Ivern mid here. Ivern jungle doesn't bring any pressure, and really, like, yeah, sure, you can clear okay, but a Gragas can just walk all over an Ivern early if you really wanted to, and especially if it has support.
Yeah, though Gragas is not also a super strong early lane, so I feel like you could handshake the Ivern Gragas and just be like, all right, we're both farming, but it is going to be Monkey on the Ivern, so presumably that is an Ivern mid. I mean, so you're handshaking mid essentially. You're just like, all right, we both scale for team fights, and you're gambling that Ivern will be more valuable. Ivern's extremely valuable in late game team fights, but so is Oriana. You're essentially gambling that Ivern will offer you more in the late game team fight than the Oriana will offer to the other team.
And that's actually a little bit of an interesting proposition here because I mean, Oriana traditionally is the go-to team fight mage, right?
Yeah,
Team wide speed boosts or slows, good damage, good positioning and shielding, good shielding, and
can
the
follow up
ultimate
on engage
for,
or bring disengage.
yeah, the ultimate tool for this kind of team composition,
Team
which is
Harmony,
a go forward composition from Team Harmony.
Yeah,
they're probably going to look for the Camille flank with the Oriana ult or the Gragas flank, but they're going to be able to pull the trigger really fast, and they've got a lot more engaged this time. So I'm curious to see how Team Mountain gets through their engage this time.
They also are bringing a lot more healing as well. Between Camille can build healing in quite easily. Sivir can build healing in easily. Seraphine is a heal bot.
what I don't want to see here, I don't want to see Divine Sunder on the Camille. I don't want to see it. I want to see Triforce. I think that a lot of people are running Divine Sunder, and I don't want to say it's overrated, but I don't think it is as broadly applicable as people think. I think there's certain champions that is pretty good on, Yorick, Hecarim, and I think there's a lot of champions that can build it, but where it's not ideal, and I think Camilla's one of them. She needs attack speed, and you don't get it out of Divine Sunderer. She doesn't benefit from the Magic Pen on the Mythic passive. I think that she wants, and particularly because there's no tanks on the enemy team, if it was like a heavy tank lineup, I think that Sunderer could be a decent pick. But I think that into a team full of squishies, she should be going the Trinity Force here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well, especially given I'm not necessarily sure of the relative power of new Triforce, but I have experienced a Camille with with that similar type of build in the past. She is very, very potent at what I would call carry removal.
Yes.
And in this case, especially because she can kind of just make like there's really two things here Camille can do that no other champion can do. She can make sure that that Rise at least never gets away, ever, with her Hextech ultimatum, or she can ensure that Jin is just not going to be a relevant champion for any team fight whatsoever.
And one thing to keep in mind is that in addition to not just like being unable to port out of the Hextech Ultimatum, the Hextech Ultimatum interrupts channels during its cast, kind of like a Victor Ultimate. So if you just ult onto Rise, it cancels his ultimate. So even the rest of his team can't get out of it. Can't get out using the Rise ult.
It's also kind of interesting too because if this is a Rise Camille matchup and Camille does get a little bit of a lead, and if she's able to push it, there's not going to be anyone on Magic Mountain that's going to be able to answer that Camille split fairly easily.
Yeah. Rise could probably like wave clear against her, but like if Camille's fed, no one is safe. She's just gonna Spider-Man across the map and just like kill people. Like that's the thing. Camille's early can be kind of rough. Like going against into a lane blaze Camille is really unfun because you need a bunch of really expensive items to come online and you can't farm from range. So if it's just like a Darius, you just don't ever get to farm. But late game Camille is super awesome because you basically just like pick people to die. You're just like, oh, there's a Jin. He's dead now. And you just hook shot Q, R, Q, he's gone. And then, 8 seconds later, when hook shot's up again, you're like, hey, that Graves looks pretty nice. Looks like a bag of 300 gold I could be picking up. And you just kill him. Like, you basically just get to go wherever you want and destroy whoever you want. But they've got to get Koite to that point.
and I think that's actually traditionally been Team Harmony's issue. Hoity is a strong player. He doesn't get attention at all
Yeah.
with most of their games. Their Gragas 9 times out of 10 is either farming if he's on top side at all, or he's on the other side of the map, not really helping these lanes. And this is a lane where I think you have to feed your Camille. You have to be paying attention here. You got to give resources over to this powerful player you have. He is a good player, one of the best I think that we have in Seal, especially in what he does. So feed him, Team
Yeah,
Harmony. That's the advice here.
and the rest of your team is fine just chilling. Like Oriana is going to scale for team fights. She's fine. Like Sivir is generally a farming laner anyways. Seraphine wants to scale for team fights. Like the rest of your mid and bot side of the map should be able to get prio so that you can, take dragon. But like they don't need to kill their lane opponents to do what they want to do. But like you really want to be top to get Camille ahead. All right, so we are in game. We see 4 phase rushes in this game. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 people in this game have gone into the sorcery tree as their primary. We have 4 phase rushes and 3 summon Ares.
That's that's a lot of sorcery and makes sense. A lot of the champions, of champions in League in this current state of the game really benefit off of phase rush, especially from the standpoint of just getting quick engages. That was an attempt at a ward that did not go well.
So we do have the Dark Seal on the Ivern, which, I mean, in a way it's greedy, but the thing with Dark Seal is it's also like hyper gold efficient. And so I don't suspect. I don't think it's more that he intends to kill the Oriana. I think it's more that he intends to buy it and then try to pick up assists
I think you're
in
going to see
skirmishes.
a lot of this, either Oriana pushing into the Ivern and then Graves coming from the shoulders of the mid lane, or Ivern going to answer all of the skirmishes that Graves will be able to put on with just hit Graves being a strong jungler all the time.
I could try for that, but realistically, as an Oriana, your goal isn't to push. Your goal is kind of to actually go for the lane freeze. As both junglers are starting bot side again.
Lordek's gonna smite the first camp. It's gonna keep him healthy, but I mean, given that you now heal off Gromp, I don't know if he needed to.
Mm-hmm.
What did Koite start? Did he start? He started W.
Yep.
Which is common when you're Camille into either a range matchup or a matchup that you don't want to be melee fighting at level 1 is you start tactical sweep.
The new Tyrion Rise. I'm not sure if it makes him much stronger early with the way it works.
I think he's weaker early because the advantage of Rise used to be that you would buy Sapphire Crystal and then you'd back after like 2 or 3 waves very early to finish your tier. But like it's a Camille, he's probably not in a lot of danger. Ooh, a lot of damage onto Mrs. Sylvie.
Yeah, that's one of your downsides of Seraphine. Seraphine may be a Sona replacement, but she did not replace Sona's health pool.
Yeah. And that health pool is tiny.
Still a very annoying.
Yeah, it just means that you got to play carefully and not do stuff like that there, where you're standing right in front of both a Nami and a Jhin. That is still a potent lane for trades like that.
So the junglers might be about to run into each other in top river. They're both looking for cover. Actually, Gragas could be looking for a mid gank here.
This would be about when I'd want to do it. Yeah, he's going in for the commit here.
The shield is down.
He does get rooted. And he's out.
Everyone's able just to walk out. Just a pet peeve, but I don't like when Ivern trots away from ganks like that.
This is probably a potential.
They're both so fast. Do you have any idea how fast I am?
You want to see me do it again?
Quick traits here in the top lane as well.
And Ryan's pushing the Camille in, probably looking for a base here to get some armor and more health.
Base Silver
Sapphire
Skin.
Crystal
I haven't used that in a while. So they are actually going to 50-50. They are going to split the crabs, go 1-on-1. There's pings coming out on the Gragas, but Graves is not in position to contest. So overall, yeah, slight farm lead for the Graves. Graves is a champion who farms incredibly well.
This Ivern trading surprisingly well with Oriana.
Yeah, Oriana's trades aren't great early. She really needs Lost Chapter to actually give it an advantage. Ooh, Koichi just missed that wall dive there.
Also,
Pick
if
up the
you
fight.
notice... Oh,
Gragas
good knockup.
getting damage down, yeah.
Red buff is slowing him. He's going to smite for a phase Nimbus Cloak out. If you notice, the Oriana also, she took phase rush, so not a damaging keystone, and she started corrupting potion. So, like, she has, like, no AP. So, she's got a lot of sustain, and she did take Biscuit as well, but, like, she really doesn't have a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is definitely the survive lane win game Oriana build. It's not the not the poke down build.
One of my former teammates, who's now playing Shadowlands, called it Bunker Oriana, where it's like you take, you know, your corrupting potion, your biscuits, maybe even, or maybe you take bone plate or whatever, and you're just like, I am just here to survive lane. I'm not here to whatever nonsense some assassin wants to get up to. I'm not here for that. Skin Kajay is discovering one of the big downsides of Sivir. Really terrible mana.
Yeah. Your mana management is basically dependent on how much CC they throw out at you and if you can hit your shield.
Yeah.
Which
I take biscuits, which the maximum mana increase, particularly with the buff she just got, I find helps a lot. But yeah, if your opponents choose not to throw anything at you, then it can be really difficult.
Graves is trying to do this drag with Bot being able to rotate, having cryo. Gragas looking maybe to try and contest this.
I've heard that's the first move, yeah. Daisy's just such a powerful zoning tool. Lord Nick needs to be real careful here. There's a TP coming in from the Rise.
Dragon's gonna go down straight
Blocking
to
the phase rush. Where Rise is really fast. Getting the ult off. Is it going to be enough? For the first blood. That was a really good ult. Is he going to be able to walk out? No, his team's going to be able to back him up though really well. This Rise teleport paying off. Just getting out.
Yeah, the Sivir Boomerang Blade was off the mark. And we're seeing one of the issues is Camille, very poor wave clear. Like, you're basically kind of like Fiora, you're limited to auto-attacking the wave. Tactical Sweep does a little bit, but like, even with Sheen, Koite is not able to get the wave into turret yet. And so he's not even going to be able to like punish the Rise by taking a lot in the way of turret plates. He'll probably get 1, maybe 2 with Sheen, because Camille is extremely good at killing towers, but not as much damage as a champion with more wave clear could have done, because it just took her so long to get the wave into the tower.
Rise is still going to be able to pick up quite a bit of this TS for XP and gold.
Yeah, and Rise off that, by the way, comes back with the Sorcerer's Shoes, a pair of Vamp Tones, and a Sapphire Crystal. So yeah, Rise is doing really well for himself after that double kill.
And more importantly, a blue buff, a boo bluff, whatever you want to call it. But
well,
like,
the extra AP is nice, and the mana regen's even better for Rise.
yeah, it doesn't give AP anymore. They changed that like 2 seasons ago, maybe.
Jeez.
Ivern is taking nothing from this Oriana. He's training autos really well.
Is he? No, yeah, he's maxing shield. He's maxing trigger speed, which I'm pretty sure is the standard max. I don't play Ivern, so I'm not sure. Ping's coming out on Gragas's red buff. Gragas is not yet level 6. And with Prio for deep thinking, Graves wants to go for this invade here. Will
Camille's
Lord...
going in for this fight though. Koichi actually does a good bit of damage, and Rise smartly decides to get out of the way before anything worse can happen.
Graves is coming to contest this Gragas.
Graves does secure the red buff.
Yeah, there's a fight going down mid. That could be a dead
The
Ivern.
Oriana ult, flash from Ivern, and the Oriana. She's able to secure the kill.
Oh, good dodge on the Rise ulti. Doesn't get the healing off tactile sweep and immediately donates the buffs back.
Yep, so 1 for 2 overall. Long trade still kind of favors the Magic Mountain because those buffs are going back to that Rise.
Yeah. I think, did Graves get one? No, Graves got one of those kills. Rise was 2-0.
Graves picked up.
But you know, I mean, you deny the red buff to the Gragas. Gragas is still not level 6. You're ahead of him in farm. Like, you know, as Rise, you don't mind dying. As Graves, you don't mind dying for that. That's still a good trade overall.
Yeah. The slight downside here, at least in the mid lane, is that you do lose. The Oriana does get ahead. She does get closer to the all important mythic item here. She does have her lost chapter, which is really big for an Oriana's early game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what she'll go next. Might be able to pass on. A lot of times you want to go the Rabadon second. Oriana has really good AP ratios, and by increasing her shield, it increases her team utility. And I think she might be able to do without a defensive item. So I wouldn't. I'd like to see her go for the Rabadon second.
Certainly still valid. I'm not the most well read on the new items in terms of how they act. Although Rabadon's I think still pretty much does what Rabadon's has always done, which is just give a boatload of AP.
You hit like a truck, especially if it's Oriana going against Echo.
That's not a good place to be for you if you're a Rise, and Rise is going to force the fight. He's going to get locked down basically permanently. Can't even get back to his own ultimate. Very quick kill. Shutdown goes to the Camille as well.
Yeah, it was sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment, because he dodges the explosive cask, but in the process he has to walk out of his ult, and so he's not able to get back to it in time to port out, and is just taken down by the second half of Precision Protocol.
And he was forced also to burn his flash earlier anyway to avoid getting stunned by the Gragas, and in doing so, pretty much doomed himself entirely right there.
He's going to get punished pretty good because Camille's going to be able to crash that wave. Which is it's unfortunate to see that as a top lane, and that's one of the hardest things to see is the big wave go under tower.
Not just that, but Team Harmony's actually going to pick up Rift Child right now.
Yeah, which is also this is good news for Team Harmony. Your two of your 3 kills are on the top laner that you need to be ahead, and you need to be able to be in the side lane. And this is going to be a divine. Oh no, yeah, that's a Triforce. That's a Triforce. Phage is Divine Sunder. So yes, it will be a Trinity Force Camille. The anti-squishy build.
Maybe looking for that early first tower.
Well, it is quite low.
This should be just a kill. Rift Herald does a little more than 2 plates. So I'm pretty sure that this is... Okay, not quite. It has like 129 health left.
I think they could... Camille probably could have hookshotted in when it charged and gotten the kill off that one, but probably not safe.
Yeah, they get 2 more plates, which is good. She should be able to back. Yep, has her Trinity Force here. Gragas gets some much needed gold because he should be the one who received most of that plate money. And now, if Rise's teleport is about to come up, but if he ever leaves lane again for any length of time, he will lose tower. Like any length of time, he'll lose tower. So having the top tower be low, particularly when a tower has not yet fallen, puts a lot of pressure on the enemy top to not use TP, or else he's just going to give the tower over to Camille. And you don't want first tower gold and free split pushing to go to a Camille.
Mountain pretty good tracking with the ping on Gragas, pinging that he's possibly doing his blue side.
Camille is... Yeah, Koichi is going in here, and Rise actually doesn't survive this fight.
Yeah, wow. That good use of the passive shield When it goes off automatically, obviously, but blocked just enough of the Rise damage that she was able to, with the Grasp proc, get a pretty convincing solo kill. And like that's like there's still a CS lead on the Rise, but like this is probably going to be first tower unless Rise TP's back in very quickly.
Oh, this was almost a bait from onto Graves there. It still could be, as Ivern sends Daisy out.
Yep, first turret. And I have to return. Hold on a second, I have to turn back
That
on.
is a teleport going down into that bot lane. Looks like Rise wants to try to punish.
They really want this dragon. And it does.
Is there Koite's TP is about to be up, but I don't think he would be in
No,
time.
they're gonna give it up. I think they're gonna trade Dragon possibly for that tower, or for a lot of damage onto it.
And the downfall, like with the Camille top lane, is it really comes down to can Rise dodge the Camille E.
Well, he didn't
And
he
don't
didn't
have
get
enough
hit by
speed.
it there, but it's still such a powerful gap closing tool that it got him close enough. Got Koite close enough to use the Hextech ultimatum.
Wasn't even a matter of dodging the E, because honestly, you can't dodge what comes. Wait, you really cannot dodge what follows up on that E.
Yeah. The point and click outplay button. Last season I played with an ADC who would sometimes play Veigar bot, and whenever he ults someone for a kill, he'd just be like, "I'm gonna take him on a point and click adventure."
That's about what happens there, except for Camille can kind of outplay even that outplay.
Yeah. So Sivir has finished her Gale Force ahead of Jhin because Jhin did elect to get Boots of Swiftness instead of completing it, while Sivir is sitting on just the basic boots. They're not boots of speed anymore, they're just boots.
Slightly
Lane?
magical boots.
No,
Lane's
Sivir's only got the
pretty
regular boots.
But Graves is
Oh, yeah,
quite
right.
far, yes, above this Gragas. 30
That's
CS.
one of the
Pop on.
one of the downsides of always running free ass boots. You don't even know what the original boots are called.
I almost never run the free boots unless I'm playing support. Just because in top lane, like I find myself wanting to resolve and precision tree too much. A lot of posturing in the bot jungle, but there's no dragging up for several minutes, 3 minutes. Camille's just sitting in top lane.
Dragon will be available long before. Oh, boy, he's not liking this. As
Still throwing a lot
Ooh!
of damage.
That's a pick on Craze Juggernaut. Good use of the Seraphine and Gragas ults. And yeah, it's just a 2-for-0 for Team Harmony across the map. Camille's going to pick up the tower.
long range smackdown for the Orianna. Tries to go in for it, gets the flashed outplay. Orianna's gonna die to Daisy, and
Aw, Daisy gives her the thwap.
And I'm still just in shock at that Camille damage. She played her percentage-based Sheen proc really well, half healthing that Rise. He just, where did he go?
Yeah. And one of the key things for Camille is how level dependent she is and the fact that she's a level up on Rise, because the amount of damage from Precision Protocol that is converted into true damage depends on Camille's overall level, not the spell level. So getting into the mid late game and getting up to those teens in terms of level is really important for Camille's damage, because the base bonus damage on Precision Protocol is not huge. It is like right now it's 85 with a fair amount of AD. But like compared to some other auto attack modifiers, it's not exceptional. But the ability to convert it into true damage is what's the big deal. All right, Koite doesn't go in there, but given that he has Ravenous Hydra and can heal up a bunch, he should go in as soon as his next hook shot is up.
pretty much his ultimate is available as well. So there's really nothing Rise can do.
Oh,
Unless he's able to dodge the E and she goes under tower, then
so blue team,
Even-
Imagine Mountain are looking for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this is a little awkward. Orianna is in position to do something about it, but not anymore. Who is it? Who gets it?
I don't know.
Mountain gets
It was picked up by
Under
Imagine
it.
Mountain. Jhin picked it up.
Oh, Jhin ult does go down. That's going to be a dead Sivir.
Oh, nope, she flashes.
Oh, she's gonna burn down though, so
Ah, tragic. I think Koite, yeah, he back.
Seraphine's not going to be able to clear these waves in time. Maybe with the Oriana they can do something, but I really don't think so. This Rift's just going to put too much damage on it. And I think with that comes the Dragon Vision for Imagine Mountain.
That actually was a really good ult, but doesn't do much other than kill the Rift Shout there.
Yeah, the command shockwave didn't quite connect. If she pulled them both into the, I think it's called Encore? Yeah, into the Seraphine ultimate, that would have been massive.
Dragon is here up in 6 seconds. Teleports come in. So, all of Imagine Blue is ready. Or Imagine Mountain here is ready for it, not Imagine Blue.
Ivern's just dropping the bushes to cut off vision. Koite's looking for a way in here, but yeah, they're gonna. That's 3 dragons to 0. The overall gold is slightly favoring Team Harmony, but they just have not been able to establish control around these dragons.
This Team Mount, or Imagine Mount has been on top of these dragons in Game 1 and Game 2. They really do not want to let any of these go.
That's a TP in from Oriana.
Does look like that will hold. Zipper and Ivern are just having a civil discussion in the mid lane. Daisy does not get the punch off to proc Zipper's spell shield, so Zipper does not get stunned up, so she just gets to clear waves and move on with life.
Yeah, the spell shield blocked the trigger seed detonation, I believe. So they're going to send Oriana top to farm while Koite continues the split push bot lane, which I think is the right call. Koite can handle the Rise pretty well, and there's towers in bot lane for him to take.
And Rise is also leaving, which again is that kind of that mistake, because you do not want to leave an Oriana alone with that, a Camille alone with that tower. You don't want to leave anyone alone with the tower, really, but...
I don't think he's leaving. I think he just doesn't have anything to do until the wave gets pushed in.
And it's a really good call to have this Rise answer the Camille.
Okay, here we go for the gank. This is 3 versus 1. That's a lot of shielding that goes down. Camille is probably out. Nope.
Well, the Rise ult is down, but gonna flash the root color.
Looking for the dive. Ivern Manning showing
the...
what him and Daisy can do as a combo.
Yeah, you don't get a shield off Daisy. Daisy does not trigger adaptive defenses.
Jin forced to use ult to clear top wave, but no Oriana for this next.
Oriana did ult him from the looks of it. He was quite low.
Yeah, there was an Oriana ult that went down that almost killed him. With a little more minions, maybe he dies, but instead they still lose their mid lane turret.
Are they? Okay, they're setting up around Baron on the side of Team Harmony, clearing out some wards.
And I think they have to answer this bot lane to get this wave shoving, so this should be...
Koite's teleport is up. It is available, so he can threaten bot lane and try to TP. Rise has TP, but no Realm Warp is available.
Yeah, what this really means for them is they can't quite do the drive-by Baron on the side of Imagine Mountain. Not that they really would want to, or even have the ability to at the moment. But it does mean that Imagine Mountain does have to be aware of a Camille that can, and probably will, appear in their backlines, especially since they've kind of just left that Camille alone. So here we go for Oriana. Oriana does manage to, dodges that, so she manages to avoid dying, so it's not going to be the 5v4.
So
bot tower for putting that damage on Oriana.
Excuse me. Yeah, Oriana's got to run all the way back. They've got to pull the trigger. They're pulling the trigger on the Baron, which I think is good, but they have to be decisive here because Camille's still on these towers. She's doing a lot of damage.
Harmony knows. They can try for it here, but it doesn't look like they're... Oh, there they go! Baron does go down to Jin. And now here comes the team fight.
Oh, now Koite's in the middle of the pit.
And that's an immediately dead Jin. Koite's gonna die here in return. just not enough support.
The Rise ultimate coming
And-
through onto the Sivir, forcing her flash. That's insane. Ivor landing the big Q, but really good spell shield from the Sivir.
So I think Team Harmony just didn't pull that trigger fast enough. They weren't really looking when everyone disappeared.
Yeah, so the issue is that, like, they didn't have Orianna because Orianna had no teleport and had been forced back. I think that they probably I don't think Koite's TP was the correct call. I think that it was probably best to let him try to get an inhib, like, and just have Lord Nick go for a steal. Like, he's down 2 levels, but it's not impossible, particularly with the Seraphine ult over the top. Like, throw whatever you have over the wall, try to get the steal, but, like, particularly once Lord Nick died and they didn't get the Baron, having Koite TP in, like, he got the 1-for-1 trade, but that's the best he's going to get. When he maybe could have even threatened an inhibitor there.
I'm looking Dragon here for Soul. This could be a very big
That
Dragon.
is a caught out Orianna, and that's a dead Orianna.
Oh, massive shield on the Graves.
It's also a dead Gragas. That is a dead Graves, though, thanks to Camille. Camille goes in and explodes to Jhin.
And this should be Ocean Soul. They do pick off the Graves, but, like, you saw how big the Ivern shielding and healing was. That's a 19 stack Magi's Ivern. He's getting 115 ability power out of Magi's Soul Stealer.
Combined with it, there it is. Moonstone Renewer and Staff of Flowing Water.
Yeah, you have another Moonstone, probably to be a staff soon on the Nami. Just, like, so much healing and shielding. That's just so accessible.
And with that, they're going to start. And with that, Imagine Mountain is going to start their siege down this mid lane.
Yeah, and Sivir's a lot like a Ziggs. Her wave clear's insane, but, you know, Baron damage reduction means that you're still going to be able to push against that Sivir. It looks like they're going to look for the top turrets here. They're going to give up the chance to break the base, so this won't be a game end here. But they're kind of like, you know, look, this is free gold on the map that we can just collect. And they elect to collect it.
Indeed they do, as, like you said, here they go, pushing for top. Team Harmony probably should just give up those 2 turrets. They're not.
I think they need to, yeah. They could maybe try to hold it the second if they get a good pick, but, like, with the Baron has just worn off.
And they have 2 teleports to answer this Camille split, so they're looking pretty healthy with the siege. If they can keep the wave.
Yeah, I think the call here is
where I
to
think
buy
they should
time.
actually try to fight now, because Camille's on the bot side. If they can actually delay here, Camille can get an inhib turret.
Yeah, they want to stop Rise's back if they can.
Which it looks like that's what they're doing.
Yep, they will stop that. Yeah, their goal, just keep them here as long as possible and not have anyone die.
Okay, one back goes off. Rise and Camille are now.
He actually force the teleport.
However, Rise can't really stand up to Camille, so.
Yeah, but he can stand up to the wave.
Yeah,
That's always the thing. Like,
Graves
you may
down.
have magic resist, but your minions don't.
And it
And
does
Camille's
take
just
2 to
going to
push
be-
Koite off, but that saves Harmony. That saves Team Harmony's base, and it saves Team Harmony a lot of trouble later on, as the gold lead could be a lot worse.
It buys them a little bit of time, but Imagine Mountain really doesn't have any problem with this going later. I don't think. With the
Actually,
Rise
Would
and all of
disagree with
the-
that sentiment, because once that Sivir hits another item, you're not getting past her. Orianna scales hard. Camille scales hard. Yes, you have Rise and Jhin scaling, but there's gonna get a certain point where you absolutely just have to have Baron if you even want to try to push.
Yeah, probably at Mortal Reminder, her wave clear is just going to become so good because she's got a little bit of attack speed from Gale Force, but notably Sivir's attack speed steroid is tied to Ricochet, so she only gets it for 3 autos. So, like, getting attack speed from items is pretty handy for her because she doesn't have, like, a built-in attack speed steroid. But at that point, she'll have enough AD and attack speed to probably just WQ the wave once or twice and be done with it.
in combination with their already built-in ability to sustain themselves. And it's looking like I'm seeing a lack of anti-heal coming out of Imagine Mountain this time as well. So they're just not really having the ability to wear down Harmony once the wave clear really goes out.
I'm curious what the BF sword is for Camille. I assume it has to be a Guardian Angel. That's the only BF sword item I can think of that Camille would realistically build.
And she's itemized really well with that Sterix, being able to survive that initial burst to get onto the target she needs to.
Hey, look, it's Camille on a turret again. And she's away.
Yeah, notably Rise
for Imagine Mountain for pretty much the rest of the game now.
Rise does have the Oblivion Orb at this point, so he's going to have the anti-heal to reduce the healing Camille gets out of her Ravenous Hydra, which is really important.
Right,
You're on the Baron here.
Yeah, now it is in full vision, so that's not great for them. They need to go over.
Daisy is almost timed out. They're about to lose one of their big team fight disruptions. There she goes.
They disengage.
So they just
This is 4 versus 4. Koiti's actually ahead here, so what Harmony could do is they could try to engage.
Oh, and Daisy's back.
Yep, so that's the signal to fight, and that's what it's going to be. However, Baron got the chance to fully heal, and now Harmony's well aware of it. And they're
also going to have to be careful with this armor and magic resist tread on Baron.
Daisy's half dead. That's a couple roots that go down. Gragas goes in. The wave comes out. Camille is in the back. She's in the fight. Graves is going to probably disappear. Camille is dead. No, instead. Looks like the engages were just not coordinated. The Sivir dies next. That's some ults that are going down. Nami and Rise were the only ones who took that journey. Gragas Zhonya's, that's only going to delay his death. Double kill goes down in favor of Graves, and there's only one person left on Team Harmony. So, and I think the mistake there was just taking that fight. You already pushed Imagine Mountain off. You can bait them into the Baron, where they can't take the fight on their terms.
I don't think the fight was a mistake. I think it was the target selection. Like, the Gragas ult splits the team up, but then Seraphine lands the ult on Ivern and Graves, but the Orianna ult goes onto the rest of the team, and Camille goes onto them and just gets obliterated because she's not tanky enough to withstand, you know, Graves and Jhin and Rise all wailing on her.
This was a great macro call by Mountain to have 2 push the wave while the other 3 got Baron, because now they've cracked the base, and it's a lot easier to force those team fights, and
it means they have easy access to the Elder Dragon.
Just gonna go down here momentarily. There's not really much anything Team Harmony can do, and this game is pretty well over here unless like a massive throw happens.
Yeah, they should just be able to roll it down mid lane, basically. Maybe even a Rise ult some of the minions in.
That'd be the traditional plays. You Rise ult a few super minions into the mid lane just to take care of it. But looks like instead they're going to actually split up, and they're not actually bringing their minion lane with them.
So they're going to go into a 4-1 with Rise on the side, which I think is probably a good call. Like, maybe he loses to Koite, but, like, he doesn't lose to anyone else. And even Camille, like, Rise is probably strong enough that he can challenge that. He's also got Azanias now, so he can wait out some of the Hextech Ultimatum and Precision Protocol. They're going to shove the wave in and then rotate to top lane for the tower here. They're just sort of checking off all the boxes. They're not going to pull the trigger on like a hard fight into the mid inhib, I think, because they saw that like the Gragas Orianna. Okay, that's not much damage on the Graves at all.
The healing and shielding from what's that OP item called? Moonstone Renewer?
Moonstone Renewer giving a bunch of heals and shields, but that's not really what's important here. That ult comes down just to push Harmony back, and that gives them the turret, that gives them the inhib. But they could try to push for here, and it looks like that's what they're going to do, as Sivir is forced to flash. A lot of damage comes down. Hextech Ultimatum comes out to try to remove someone off the map. Guardian Angel is burned. So that's what your BF sword was for, but that's not really going to do much, as Jin's going to make sure Camille doesn't get up again. That's her
they're
first
just
hit.
going to-
Daisy's
Down.
just whacking away.
Third is coming down soon afterwards here. And that looks like it's it right there. Not sure why they're actually hitting that inhib. They could honestly just try to go for the end, but they hit it just for good measure. As we're in exposed Nexus here, they have to fight now and try to kill all of them, or it's going to be game over. And that looks like it's going to be it, actually.
Dang.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is a 2-0 for Imagine Mountain.
And for once, we get to see the victory screen as well.
Hey, Riot throwing
GG.
up the bone there.
GG spectator client.
Mhm.
And I think what we can really say from this one is Team Harmony's issues aren't to do with the skill of their players or really the compositions they draft. It seems to just be more of their execution in that mid-game transition just doesn't seem to be there. They almost seem, I'd say, lost in terms of how they were trying to fight that one. They didn't seem to know exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and they're not like the split push worked a lot better this game for them, I think, but they're still like, I think they're still learning how to play around having a split pusher on their team.
That's yeah, I would tend to agree with that sentiment. It's not just the fact that you kind of need to treat split pushers differently, but it's also more of split pushing is still the single most difficult type of composition to play in League of Legends. That hasn't changed in 11 seasons of League.
I think that a lot of their Harmony's team fights were very disorganized with their ultimates because they would throw a Gragas ultimate out to split them up, and then they would disengage, but then Seraphine would walk up and ulti them to re-engage. So they're forcing a lot of awkward fights on themselves. So I think if they're just a little more together on pulling the trigger, could have been very different results.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one. And it looks like the chat is calling for a Sylvian interview. So or Sylvian interview. So let's see if we can actually make that happen.
I think we have a limit in the number of people we can have in the streamers chat, and I actually it is quite late on my time on the East Coast, so I will say good night and free up a slot for the interview.
Yep.
So good night, everybody. And I think we're working on getting an interview from Imagine Mountain, but I will see you next time on the Rift.
One of these wonderful people will be coming up here eventually. We're just trying to figure out which ones. And much thanks to T2 Phoenix there for helping us with this impromptu TriCast, one of the I think the first of this year for Seal, as well as keeping up someone I don't think is actually casted here as well with Smurb. So thanks for coming up on short notice and getting all this together.
I mean, it was definitely fun. The TriCast was a lot different than I expected. Definitely would do it again. It was a blast. Just watching.
All right, I just heard word from our wonderful production staff that Monkey is our likely post-game interview. So once we get him here in chat, and there he is. Hello, Monkey. Welcome to the secret chat for cool people and
Thank
to
you.
our post-game interview. So I guess we're gonna start off here with this is your so this is week 2. And it looks to us like Imagine Mountains gelling really well. So how are you guys managing that? Are you guys doing this with? Is this mostly just a result of a lot of scrims that you're running with each other, a lot of practice? What's your regimen looking like as you're preparing for these games?
So we usually, I think we've done 2 scrims so far, 3, and luckily enough, since the Imagine Esports has multiple teams, we scrimmed kind of in houses, and that's been really helpful for our game. And we also have really good chemistry together. Whenever we play, we're always laughing. We're always trying to enjoy ourselves, trying to kind of look for stupid plays, honestly. And it kind of meshes really well with all of our personalities and all the kind of games we want to play on the Rift.
Yeah, meshing well is very important, and kind of leading off of that and meshing well, a question I always like to ask is who's actually kind of leading that? Who's the center point of your team that makes all this happen?
So it's kind of on our jungler, but we don't have one solid kind of shot caller. As he's running around the map most of the time, he is calling a lot of the shots of invading and kind of taking control of objectives. But there are many times where I will call for recalls or resets for different objectives, or top laner, or support, or AD. We're all kind of on the same page, and I think that's what's giving us a lot of success in these games.
Yeah, on the same
Curious
page,
about
definitely
your
give it.
team comps, like the way you drafted the first game and the second game, with letting them get a really heavy engage and you guys just trying to survive the their engage just to be able to re-engage for the team fight, and you guys executed perfectly.
I definitely agree on that. So what we were thinking for the first game was I just need to play a solid lane. Our top laner is also really kind of has a hidden pick on Swain, as he'd mentioned to us that he does play it every so often and does know the mechanics on it. So it's very, you guys sounded surprised on the cast when he picked it, but he was very comfortable with that lane. And their kind of lane swap also put us off a little, but we were able to play how we wanted to play and disengage with our picks with Lulu, my tornadoes on Yasuo, and Swain as just a complete re-engage on their comp. So we just played to their weaknesses. And in game two, we just fully committed to that. As I've been practicing a lot of Ivern in mid lane recently, in solo duo games and flex games and norms, to see how it fits into the comp. And the comp we picked definitely fit that disengage and then re-engage with the Ivern, as well as the Nami and the Jin and the whole shebang.
Kind of speaking of the Everin, where actually did that come from? Is this something like you saw, like on LCS or LEC, and thought it was cool, or is this something that came up more amongst the actual solo queue, meta as this patch was developed?
So as I'm like really interested in the theory crafting of League of Legends, hence the Ivern mid pick, I follow the Church of LS, if you're not familiar with it. And
Crazy Annie.
yes, and recently he's been preaching Moonstaff, and I looked at it and have been looking for a different kind of pick mid lane that's very oppressive in lane, as you kind of told with or saw with the lane control of the Ivern shields, as well as the kind of power he brings to late game team fight through his healing with Moonstone and Staff of Flowing Water, as well as Daisy to control those fights. And that's been my inspiration with that mid lane pick. And it's not a pick many people would expect, as I play more hard carries, such as Yasuo that I played first game and last week as well.
Um, Another thing with, like, for your dragon fights in both games, like the gold was even. Like Team Harmony was doing a fairly good job in stopping the bleeding, but you guys always had the dragon priority, even if it was even or you guys were down. Okay, always the dragon priority in vision. Like, was that just a team effort, or was that specific person on your team doing that, or?
So I know a lot of the time I will press tab and look at the timer. And if it's 120, I will always call either reset. And if it's 40, we have to be at that dragon. We put a lot of pressure on our vision because it just chokes teams into a really, really awkward spot. And the strength of our champions is really to get that first pick and then just explode. With the Swain, for example, if we land at E, it's just go. So when we want to control these objectives, especially with the bushes that we got in the second game, we put so much priority on that because that's what wins games. We had Soul by like 25 minutes, the Ocean Soul, and I didn't even realize that until the last fight because we were just so ahead in the objective game.
One of the big calls there that got you the crack on their base in that second game was the pick on Oriana. You guys didn't necessarily get the kill on her, but forced her out of the team fight to get that Baron, and the instant turn on Baron was what got you guys to crack their base. It was well done. Like, your guys' macro was really well.
Yeah, if I give you like a kind of a glimpse, we see the Camille bot lane and the Orianna chunked. So we immediately think we can burn the TP. We're not looking to fully commit to the Baron just yet, as we're not tanky enough. And Daisy, although she does have a lot of health, isn't very tanky. We wanted to kind of bait that out, and then once we did, we're in such a super advantageous position with our items as we're running double Moonstone, and this is the power of the Moonstone. It's constant healing. I checked just before joining this interview, and by the end of the game, I had 7.5 thousand healing just from that item.
And not just a lot of healing. You actually had on this graph pretty much third most damage in the game as well while you're at it. So
Iron Shields, Iron Shields.
yeah, which I think that's pretty much a good point to end it on there. You and your team did amazing in that game and pretty much showed not just textbook League of Legends, but also what creativity and solid theory can do in inside of a game as well, especially a game that is as volatile as this year seems to be. So congratulations to you and team to Imagine Mountain. Good luck as the season goes on, and we certainly look forward to seeing you guys in playoffs and hopefully hoisting the unfortunately yeah, digital trophy at the end of this split.
Thank you very much. And one last thing before I go, I'd like to wish all the teams in the Ionian division good luck, as we're coming guns blazing with 4 new players and myself who played last season.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Ionian teams take notice. This is a threat. Get ready. Thank you, everyone. May everyone have a good night. I'm an on gamer, and my co-hosts for this evening have been Smurf the Perp and TTU Phoenix. And big shout out also to Shadow, who has been sitting in the shadows managing this entire puppet show. Good night, good luck, and have fun in your solo queue games.
That's